complicated. It was called Bourbon, and it let you check in at places and share photos of what you were doing there.
7 years after launching Instagram, the firm is one of the best motivational stories of entrepreneurs. Regardless of some claim co-founder Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger were lucky, everyone can agree that this firm's decision to pivot from Bourbon to Instagram was definitely the right choice. Do you agree, Jamie?
Maybe. It's hard to hear in his blocks. One of the reasons Systrom gave for achieving success was their ability to solve an unmet need by listening to users' feedback before making a decision to retire a program called Bourbon. I personally feel, as do many other critics, that there was luck involved here, and I don't believe in serendipity. Explain how they managed to get 100,000 users in under a week's time, and then only 2 years later, they sell to Facebook for a whopping $1 billion.
Wow! $1 billion? Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, hold on, guys. That's not the point. Jamie, did you even read the article? I mean, anyways, if you read The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, which we're supposed to read, he even points out this whole system that we're learning, the build, measure, learn, which is what Instagram did. They built it, they measured it, and they learned from it. And instead of moving forward with an app that wouldn't work, listened to the customers and they pivoted accordingly. You get it? Okay, Scott Cook of Intuit. Here's another guy that started his company in a living room, but grew to earn over $4 billion in annual revenue each year. Their success is because they iterated their products quickly, following their customers' feedback.
So what do you think now, Jamie?
Sure. But these are huge companies.
Jamie, weren't you listening? Intuit started out of a living room. Let me put it to you this way. These companies weren't huge companies at one time. If they kept preserving in their thought process, much like you are right now, they probably would have missed out. And all because of their inability to pivot. You know, they would have still probably moved on anyways from Bourbon, and probably been drinking it because of their inability to pivot. So if you plan to fail and succeed, what's that called? That's what the article is trying to get across. Sometimes a poor plan is a poor plan, and your inability to pivot into a new direction only means you will be a successful failure. So Jamie, now what do you think?
Okay, yeah, I guess these guys are onto something. Instagram delivered one of the most effective changes to their model by pivoting rather than persevering. I still wonder, though, about timing, durability, luck. I mean, so what? Maybe they could have picked something else. Anything, really. Maybe something that would have been even bigger and better. Maybe they could have picked something that was easier to follow with their ad because the baseline was already established. What if they tailored it more towards Twitter? Perhaps that idea could have fetched $2 billion. I wonder what the rest of the class thinks.
Sure, Jamie. Let's ask.
Wait. One more thing, Jamie, for you and the class. Hello. To think about. You know, I'm a mechanic. I work at Ford. And recently, Ford decided that their most popular vehicle, the F-Series, that they were going to switch from an all-steel body to an all-aluminum. This was a massive pivot for them because it was unheard of. You never know what's going to happen when you do that big of a push on a very popular item. But they took a chance because people wanted lighter trucks. And it worked. Because this year, they've had the best year ever with their F-Series. Ford could have stuck with using steel, but they didn't. So, you convinced? No. All right, here. I got a presentation just for you.
Hello, and welcome to Team 2's, or TOOS, presentation for Entrepreneurship 398. This week we will be focusing on Pivot or Persevere. The presentation has been created by Jamie, Dina, John, and Matthew. We hope you enjoy this presentation. This week, we will be focusing on the article written by Lori Siegel. It talks about how Instagram was created by a few men pivoting their idea from a check-in app into the massive photo-sharing app we know today. Through this pivot, these men succeeded. Now, this success was created through careful examination of customer feedback. Without checking the data and the ways that the customers were using the old app, Kevin Systrom and others wouldn't have known that pivoting the app instead of persevering through would be a good idea. The idea that pivoting a business venture would lead to success seems to be a smart idea. When reading Effectual Entrepreneurship, it shows that studies in the past indicate that pivoting leads to higher rewards in the future, even if it means pivoting more than once. Wow! The idea of pivoting or persevering directly correlates with the book, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and the Build, Measure, Lean setup that he created. By creating a minimum viable product, the check-in app, and listening to customer feedback, leaning the program to only include photos led to the creation of Instagram. Originally, the app was called Bourbon, where users could post where they are, where they're going, and where to meet up with others. However, it gave too many options to users, and the app became cumbersome. The business could have persevered through and tried to convince the customers to trust in the app, but they didn't. They pivoted. What they found was that the customers focused on posting the pictures of where they were as the check-in. So, as a business, they pivoted to focus completely on photos, and this became Instagram. This would coincide with the zoom-in pivot. This decision has shown to be a smart one for Instagram. They have succeeded in ways that weren't thought to be possible, and this success is shown through their trust in the idea of pivoting for the future. This relates to the Build, Measure, Lean system. Trusting that building a product and listening to the customers so that you can potentially restart again is important for success. As Reese says in his book, if we've discovered that one of our hypotheses is false, it is time to make a major change to a new strategic hypothesis. A perfect example is BlackBerry. Originally a company that built mobile phones, BlackBerry dropped considerably in value as they tried to persevere with their physical keyboard compared to the smartphones Apple and Google were making. To dodge bankruptcy, they decided to switch 100% from hardware to software, and they've been successful. However, they haven't come close to their formal value. So that is our question for the class. Is it deemed a failure if the business is not or as more successful after the pivot? BlackBerry successfully avoided bankruptcy, but have not grown larger than what they were before. So have they failed? And what about other companies? Thank you for watching our presentation, and we hope for great conversation.